All right, ladies and gentlemen, going live. This is almost the real spiel. And now for the brand new intro. Check it out. I hope you like it. And this is my DJ voice. I'll put on my real voice later.
Like my friends to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. There behind the glass stands a real blade of grass. Be careful as you pass. Move along, move along. Come inside, the show's about to start. Guaranteed to blow your head apart. Rest assured, you'll get your money's worth. Greatest show, it happened, alright, you gotta see the show. It's a dynamo, you gotta see the show. It's rock and roll, oh, right before your eyes. We put laughter from the skies, and he laughs until he cries, and he dies, and he dies. Come inside, the show's about to start. Guaranteed to blow your head apart. You gotta see the show. It's a dynamo. You gotta see the show. It's rock and roll. Oh, performing on the stool. We've a sight to make you through. 7 virgins out of you. Keep it cool, keep it cool. We'd like it to be known. The exhibits that were shown were exclusively our own. All our own, all our own. Come and see the show. Come and see the show. Come and see the show. Rejoice, glory is ours. Our young men have not died in vain. Their graves need no flowers. The tapes have recorded their names. I'm all there is. But I gave you life.
What else could you do?
To do what was right.
I'm perfect for you.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. And I got to turn up my microphone. Sorry if I could blast you out with Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I had my headphones on a certain setting, so I couldn't hear it. I'm like, oh no one can hear Emerson, Lake and Palmer. No, not on my first show. But hey, almost successful. What can you say? That's perfect startup for the show. Happy Memorial Day, which I always felt weird. I don't really think Memorial Day should be happy. Well, I guess so, because my view on death is you should remember the people that went before. So like my mom, my dad, I always try to remember good things about them. And by the way, this is the inaugural, the kickoff, the first show of Almost the Real Spiel with Mark Vancouver. That's right, it is Spiel. Spiel is a Yiddish word. But anyway, enough about me. Today, it's this episode is about my dad. So I wanted to remember him on Memorial Day. He was on, wow, the tone got really low. Hey, that's what it is. Love my dad. He passed away in my mid-teens. So before I got out of high school, before I learned how to drive even, I had to drive by my sister, my brother. Yeah, that's another story for another episode. But this episode, so just what is Almost all about? So Almost is that we all try things, and we should live our life and keep on trying things. And when we try things, we should try them until we've done everything we can to get there. Facebook user says, happy first show. All right, announce yourself, happy first show. So happy first show to you too, because you're seeing it for the first time. Anyways, thank you, Facebook user. So basically trying, I think my point of view of life is we should have our dreams, keep our dreams, try. And I know they say, like Yoda says, do or do not, there is no try. That is true, but you got to try and do. And then sometimes you get to a point where it's like, you know what, I know enough about this thing that I'm doing, and I've now discovered that it's actually not my dream. It's not what I want to do. So that's what I mean by almost. That's what I mean by trying. You should do it full in, go all in, both feet, not whole 9 yards. Just get in there, try it. do it for a long time, and then eventually you'll figure out, hey, you know what, maybe this is not for me. So that's a try. So my dad obviously gave me his DNA. So half of my XY is my dad. Well, technically my Y is my dad. That's how guys work. If you want to do chromosomes in biology, this isn't the show for that. But so my dad was the first almost. So he was in the Army Air Corps. And when he came out of that, he wanted to fly professionally at that time. When would that be? Late 40s, I guess, late 1940s. There wasn't really a lot of positions for piloting. And so he moved on to do different things. And one of the things that I found out after he died that he did, I found out that, hey, the Vancouver's could have been the Tysons. And what I mean by that is my dad with a partner, my mom and dad with a partner, started the first frozen chicken parts store in Chicago. And I'm not sure how long they did this, but I think they did it for a year or two, or maybe even more. And their partner in crime, in business, was not a very good businessman, not very ethical. He didn't work as hard as my parents. And so they decided to split company. No pun intended. But so they did that. And then they didn't, I wish they would have, which is, I like breath. I wish they would have kept that store because I could have been a Tyson. No, that's not true. But yeah, I mean, he did a bunch of things like that throughout his life where he tried new things. And then we came along, the 4 children. And so he locked himself into a credit manager job for a furniture concern in the Chicago area. So my dad started the legend of Almost. So he's almost the frozen chicken parts king of Chicago. He's almost a pilot. He's almost many things. But I just imagined, like, I have a fantastical life sometimes and live in my head. So I imagined at one point that when I found this out, I just had like a whole fantasy, like a whole TV series went in my head. And I saw, like, hey, here's the story of a Jewish family who owns a frozen chicken part store. Hey, Juana's here. Cool. Oh, she doesn't see me on LinkedIn Live, so she's on YouTube. It should be on my profile, LinkedIn profile. That's usually where they show them. But sometimes they make it hard on LinkedIn. Oh, well. That's not good because most people trying to watch this are probably trying to watch it on LinkedIn because that's where most of my contacts are. I have a few on Facebook. And YouTube's just a YouTube channel. So obviously I could say, hey, if you want to watch the show, go to the YouTube channel, EOC Studios. However, if you're not already here, that won't help you at all. So I'll figure that out. We have glitches on shows. So this almost was a successful show. I was almost on LinkedIn Live. I am on Facebook. I am on YouTube, but not necessarily on LinkedIn, but we'll fix that. So anyways, back to the almost Tysons. So I had this TV series popped in my head, and it was about a family, 3 generations. So it'd be my grandpa, my paternal grandfather, which I never met, my dad, and then me, and then of course all my siblings, and my mom would be in it too. And it'd be about a frozen chicken part store. And so I envisioned one episode. I don't know if you know this, but so there's basically, according to like fried chicken places, there's 4 parts of chicken. There's way more than that, but they do the thigh, the leg, the breast, and the wing. And so really and truly, a leg is the leg and the thigh together. So that's so that technically a lot of people call the leg the drumstick, and you're like going, what? You're going through the history of chicken parts. And then my dad liked gizzards, which is the stomach, which I found gross, but then I like chicken livers, which is just bad. So anyway, it's one of my favorite dishes. So I know I'm rambling, but that's what I do, and that's what these shows are going to be. They're going to be free spirit. They're going to have a central theme about an almost. So the almost here obviously is the almost. We were almost Tysons. Don't worry, it's only a half hour, so it won't be painful. So anyways, I had this episode where it'd be like one episode, it'd be kind of modern day. So it'd be my paternal grandfather, who'd be like extremely Jewish, speaking lots of Yiddish, things like that. My dad, who kind of towed the line in between that, he spoke mostly English and that kind of stuff. And my mom, as well. And so one time someone would come in, and so the Yiddish, I don't know if it's a Yiddish word, but we always called the drumsticks pokies. So that little part of the leg where it's a drumstick and the thigh together, which most people call the leg. So the drumstick we call pokies. Anyways, so someone would come in, and for whatever reason, I don't know how I would work this in the story, but it's almost like buffalo wings, and it'd be someone in Chicago trying to do something different, because us in Chicago, we always try to do different. Do our hot dogs different, love it. Italian beef different, love it. Deep dish pizza, love it. Enough said. I love Chicago food. Yeah, a friend of mine actually is on her way. I don't know if she's driving right now or whatever. Lolo, if you're out there on the road, keep your motor running. Okay, I'm not going to do Steppenwolf, but anyways, hopefully you're driving and you're safe. I won't make you laugh too much, because I don't know about you, but I'm a terrible driver when I laugh. So back to the episode. I don't even know what we were talking about. I mean, what it would be called. What's a good title for it? I didn't think about that. The bent cover is not very good. Anyway, so I'd be in the store. I was thinking I was maybe like around 10 after school, and someone comes in, and they're like in Chicago, and they're going to try to do the Chicago version of buffalo wings, and call them like Chicago legs or something, or Chicago drumsticks or something weird like that. And so then the lady would come in, and she's like, "Oh yeah, how you guys doing? I've noticed you walk by the store all the time. And yeah, I just always want to come in, and I'm trying to start my own new Chicago food. I'm going to call it Chicago drumsticks. Let's call it that. Why not? And I got to run an experiment. So I'd like to order like 20 pounds of drumsticks." And my grandfather would go, "What? 20 pounds of drumsticks? What's a drumstick?" And I'd be like, "Well, Grandpa." I probably wouldn't call him I'd call him like Pop or something cool like that. Anyways, Juana is now on LinkedIn. Cool, thanks. So now we got one person on LinkedIn, one person on FaceTube. The audience is growing, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Benko is going to take over the world. Anyway, so she goes, "I want 20 pounds of drumsticks." And my grandpa, Pop, I'll call him Pop. Why not? Sounds cool. I didn't have a grandfather, so I mean, if I had a grandfather, I'd call him Pop. So they're like, "Pop, drumsticks are pokies." "Well, why didn't she say pokies? I know what pokies are. I don't know if we have 20 pounds. Let me go back to the freezer and see if we got 20 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Oi, Gevelt, get out of here. What are we talking about? Just wait for me." Okay, so then he'd go back there, and it'd be kind of like a Lucy episode, like the Lucy episode with the candy. I don't know how I'd work that into drumsticks, but I just envisioned that. Anyway, so the Almost Tysons is the first story of my dad's almost. Second almost is he wanted to be a professional pilot. He really loved flying. He bought all kinds of flying magazines, and he'd come home and do, so he just liked flying. And so when I started out, when I was just a little baby boy in Chicago, when I started out, he was well into his credit manager job with Nelson Brothers Loves You. Anyway, oops, I wasn't supposed to say the name. I don't even know if they exist anymore. Anyways, isn't it weird how like different commercials you can remember, like Empire? 580 3000 Empire. I mean, I still remember that. When I bought my townhouse in Charleston, South Carolina, actually. First time ever. So how old was I there? Anyways, it was decades. And it was decades since I had heard that commercial. And basically, I bought from Empire for the very first time. And I remember their number. They just had 1-800 though, because they're national now. So good for them. Anyways, I don't know if Nelson Brothers exists anymore. But back to my dad's almost. So his almost was he was wanted to be a pilot. So he would get flying magazines and all that kind of stuff. And when I was a baby, I had the hand-me-downs. We had lived in the one bedroom with my brothers. I think my older brother had the top of the bunk and step on my head like probably every day, which would be repeated when I lived with my sister in Seattle. But that's a whole other story. That's another almost episode. Anyway, so I know this is extemporaneous, and I apologize for that. But I could imagine that most of my shows will be that. There'll be like a central theme and then all that kind of stuff. And just as a preview of episodes, so I'm going to probably do well, I am not probably, I'm doing my father almost this episode, which has just 17 more minutes, ladies and gentlemen, so you can relax. I'm going to do this episode on my father. My second episode will probably be on my mother, and then it'll be almost episodes of, about me. And I could probably do 50 shows just on me. So that's kind of what we're going to do. And hopefully we last 50 shows. And then the audience builds. I might pull in audience members and they can talk about the almost stories, because I believe everybody has an almost story, at least one. So, and you shouldn't be ashamed. Almost is a good thing. Like I said, you go for it. You go as far as you can, and then you fish or cut bait. At some point you go, you know what? I know enough about this that I know it's not going to work for whatever reason. And so I'm going to cut bait and move on. So my father, seeing that he couldn't be a professional, yes, see, I brought that back. See that circular? Hey, I came back. My father knew that he had a family with 4 kids. He moved us to the suburbs of Chicago, bought a nice house. We never wanted for food. He kept us clothed. He kept us fed. He kept us shelter over our house, and we felt loved. So it was a good thing. And in doing that, afterwards, after he died in my mid-teen years, I just said, oh, okay, you know what? He put aside his dreams, or maybe better said, he changed his dreams to taking care of his family. So he did a great job of that. So after we got a house really cheap, he started paying it off. And I'd say when I was 12 or 13, yeah, probably around my bar mitzvah, we had a little extra cash. And my father, I'm not sure if he created it, but I knew he was part of it. But he partnered with like 19 other guys, and they bought a Cessna. Oh, what was their first one? It's either a Piper or a Cessna 180. My little brother killed me. He goes, "Here's a Cessna 180, you idiot." My brother's taking up my dad's love of flying. He's actually going for his instrument license. He already has his private pilot license. Say that 10 times fast. So my dad decided, hey, you know what? I can't be a professional pilot, but I can fly. And so he joined this club. And basically, first they had one airplane. It was like a timeshare for an airplane. It was pretty cool. So you go, okay, I want to fly to Wisconsin Dells or something like that with my wife on this weekend. So I'm going to sign it out and I'll have it for that weekend. And you just put in fuel, you share the insurance, you share the payments, you share the hangar rental and all that kind of stuff. And then you got a plane. And then eventually they had 2. And then when he passed, I think they had 2. They got rid of the Piper and they got something else. I can't remember. So that was his dream, was flying, and he figured out a way to do it. He changed his dream, but he got it. And that's one of the reasons I love my dad. I mean, a lot of people think he was miserable. I don't think he was miserable. I think he was I've come to understand him way better since he died than when he was alive. I mean, I was only like 1 through 15. So what do you know? And then, at 15, you kind of rebel against your parents. And so I was like, I was probably angry with him died, which was really a great feeling. But I always loved him. And then I found out a lot more about him after he passed, and I loved him even more. So anyway, so he got into pilot. And then there's just some great stories, like taking my mom, flying her to Florida. And I think it was the Ozarks. There's some small airport in the Ozarks. And I don't know if he arranged it or it's just something they do on a lark. They literally rolled out the red carpet for my mom and my dad. So I wish I could have seen that. They didn't take this. They didn't take a lot of pictures on that trip. But another thing, I don't know if you've ever experienced this. You have to be older, but there's, Sun made there used to be 8mm cameras. So you get 8mm cameras, and they had these things called Sun. And they made lamps like lighting, and they were like super bright, like burn your retinas out bright. if you looked at them. So my dad took lots and lots of pictures like that, but he was never in many of them. So um, those are the almost that I know for my dad. And basically, maybe I'll kick that off. Maybe we should do a contest. So if you're listening, and just DM me on LinkedIn, or you can post on Facebook. So Facebook, it's a Facebook group is what is it? It's Einsteins of Creativity. So go there and post. Wait till I tell you the contest. Obviously, I haven't told you the contest, so you can't do it. So either Facebook group, Einsteins of Creativity, YouTube channel. I think you can subscribe and comment. If not, then don't do that. But my YouTube group is EOC Studios. And by the way, if you help me get to 100 subscribers, I can name it something like in English, like EOC Studios YouTube channel, instead of X1 pound, exclamation point, question mark, / It's like, one of those names. They're really horrible. Of course, you could just search on EOC Studios and it'll come up. And then obviously I am Mark Bentcover on LinkedIn. So MarkBentcover. And you're like, dang, that was a long preamble to a contest. Yes, it was. So the contest is, if you could think up a name for that show, the show where it's my grandpa. Obviously, it's a fictional show because I never met my paternal grandpa. So it'll be my paternal grandpa, my dad, and me, and obviously the rest of my family. The kids will come in and out. But a frozen chicken parts store. So what would be the name of that sitcom? And actually, if we come up with a really good name, I might do like a drama podcast. I hear those are pretty successful. So, I mean, just so you know, one of the almosts for me, which we'll have devote a whole episode at a later time, is script writer. So at one time I was on a cable comedy show, and it lasted for about 24 episodes. And I wrote skits, starred in the skits, directed the skits, edited the skits, all that kind of stuff. So this might be a short episode. Actually, it's only 2:50 now. But I guess what I'll end with is a little spiel. That's right, the real spiel about parents. So no matter how your parents raised you, they are your parents. You share their DNA. I'm not saying to forgive them if they were really bad to you, but just come to a place where you don't hate them and they don't. This is for the bad parenting parents, that you don't hate them and that they don't help you ruin your own life based on how they raised you. And if they raised you fairly well, make sure you acknowledge them. If they're still around, give them a hug if you can, call them, just talk to them, be with them. I mean, one of the most glorious, I wish I would have spent more time with my dad, but I didn't know. Nobody knows when they're going. He died at the age of 54, which kind of sucked. But at least he got to fly. That's good. He got to see, it's for kids. I mean, myself and my younger brother, he didn't get to see us grow up all the way, but he got to see my older sister and older brother. At least my older brother was in college, and my older sister get married and have a kid. He got to meet her first kid, so that's pretty cool. So he got to do a lot of things. But on Memorial Day, let's just acknowledge the people that have passed. Most of Memorial Day is around soldiers and people who are in the military service, and I thank them for our service. I know there's a lot of bashing in America these days. I know we have blemishes. America has blemishes, no business. The George Floyd and all the, Black Lives Matter and all that kind of stuff. I actually wrote a song on that. You can see that on my YouTube channel, EOC Studios. It's called Black and Blue in America. But we have a lot of blemishes, but we also have a lot of good things too. So I probably would not be able to have this show and say half the things I will say. I mean, this show is pretty mild, but I won't be able to say half the things I will be saying over the next episodes. Hint, hint, this is a teaser for you to show up every week. It'll be 2:30 Eastern time on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and Facebook. And then if I can find any other challenges, I'll do it too. I'm also this is basically a podcast. So if you were watching it, I mean, some of you are watching it. It's kind of boring. It's just me, a talking head, in front of a microphone. I won't be having many graphics because it'll just be a podcast. But I'm going to strip the transcripts through Otter. I'm going to post this on Spotify, Apple, all the good podcasts through Captivate. I just joined Captivate. And I look forward to doing this show for as long as I can do the show. So it's brief, 23 minutes. If anyone has any comments, I'll take some comments and respond to them. And if not, we'll just do the Jeopardy music, which if Murph Griffin's still alive, he'll sue me if I go da 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 da. See, I had to do that because I was going to be like Vanilla Ice with, I don't know if you remember Ice Ice Baby, his song. There was a big stink over it because basically he ripped off the bass riff from Queen's Under Pressure. And I mean, Queen's Under Pressure riff the bass riff goes do 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 do, kind of like that. It's not perfect, but then Ice Ice Baby has the exact same riff, which is not a big deal because at that time rap sampled music all over the place. I know this is a digression, but I'm going to do this sometimes. I blame my ADD. No, I don't. Oh, wow. I'm on my multiple personality. No, I'm not. Okay, so anyway, they basically questioned about it. He goes, no, I didn't. And then he did that riff that I just did. I mean, he goes, yeah, Queens goes, do 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 do. Mine goes, do 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 do. So just a little blip at the end was the only difference. Guess what? I don't know what the copyright thing is. The threshold is. Uh-oh. Juana says no Vanilla Ice, please. It's just the story. I'm not going to play him. But actually, but the weird thing about him is he's an interesting dude. But anyways, so he was almost a superstar. He had his hit song. So it's 2:55, and I thank everyone for coming. This was the first episode of Almost the Real Spiel. It will be on every Monday at 2:30. I plan on having it'll last for after the intro, it'll be about from 25 to 40 minutes. I'll try to keep it at 30. And it'll just be stories. I will try to end with a little thing that helps you, I don't know, what's the word? Inspire you? Maybe inspire you. At least look at things in a different light. So my tagline for most of my shows is living your best life creates a better world for everyone. I believe that inside everyone has their voice, they have their stories. And if you share your stories, you will inspire the world. You never know who you're going to impact, who you're going to inspire. It's like a drop in the ocean. You tell your story, you drop it in the ocean, and then it causes a bigger wave and a bigger wave and then a bigger wave. You never know who you're going to impact. You never know who's listening. You never know what they're going to do with what you say. You never know how what you say is going to impact them. So, yes, everybody, please just tell your stories, get it out there. And also, like on LinkedIn, Facebook, etc., don't judge people by their whatever's on their connection thing. Connect with as many people as you can. Obviously, if you're in a business or something and it's United States only, then you might want to limit it to. Of course, then it's kind of ironic because Wakas came on, and Wakas is a friend of mine that I met through Hamad Siddiqui's course on LinkedIn. If you don't know Wakas, go check him out. I mean, he's killing it on video. He started off, for lack of a better word, Wakas, don't take this personally, started off kind of awkward, and now he just owns it. He's a civil engineer, and he talks about engineering, and which you would think would be boring, whatever, but it's pretty impressive, and he's helping people with resumes. Also, I want to shout out to Juana. I mean, am I saying your name right? I know you did alliteration for me once. I'm not even going to try to do your last name because you did that. Anyways, so Juana, check her out too. She's doing videos. She's doing amazing stuff. So check her out. Juana Paareo, I think. I'll have to go look again. She she laid it out for me, like, syllable wise on how to say her name. So I don't know if I just ruined it or not. And my name is Mark, obviously, that's easy to handle, but Bent Cover. So it rhymes with like over, not cover, but everybody says my name wrong anyway. So, Wano Wakas and the Facebook user, whoever you were, I'm not even sure. Could have been Danette, could have been, which I call Net, so I don't know why I called her Danette. And Lolo, you said you're going to be listening. So hope you're driving safe to Chicago. Just all my followers, all my friends, all my family. Have a great Memorial Day. Make sure you reach out to people you haven't talked to in a long time. Make sure you remember people that went before us, because I would say, like, even though my dad passed early on, I'm my father's son. Obviously, I have stuff from my mother too. So I'm my father's son and my mother's son. I always thought I was a lot like my mom, and I do have aspects of her. And she'll be the next show. She died a couple of years ago. It's really hard for me because we were really close. We came really close in the last 20 years of her life. Anyway, Dad, I love you. Happy Memorial Day. I'm glad you did your service. I'm glad you got to fly when you got to fly. And I'm going to cry now. So I just wish I had more time with you. So everybody, have a good one. And I will talk to you next week. Have a good rest of your Memorial Day. And this is the end of episode 1, almost the real spiel.